The ancient vessel drifted through the void like a forgotten dream. Zara pressed her gloved hand against the frost-covered viewport, watching stars wheel slowly past the observation deck. 3 months into her botanical survey mission, she had mapped every growing chamber, every hydroponics bay, every seed vault aboard the derelict ship. Every section except one. The sealed door at the end of Corridor 7 had haunted her thoughts since the first week. No access codes worked. No maintenance override opened it. The metal itself seemed different, older somehow, with patterns that hurt her eyes when she looked too long. Today, armed with a plasma cutter and her stubborn curiosity, she would finally see what lay beyond. The first cut, the cutter sparked against the door's surface, sending cascades of golden light across the corridor walls. The metal peeled away like flower petals, revealing layers of crystalline growth beneath. Strange roots or vines had somehow fused with the ship's hull, creating a barrier that was part machine, part living organism, as the final section fell away. Warm air rushed out, carrying scents that made Zara's heart race. Jasmine and moonflowers, copper and lightning, and something else. Something wild and magnificent that had no earthly name. Emergency lighting flickered on automatically, illuminating a wonderland that stole her breath away. The Garden of Wonders, the chamber beyond defied physics. Bioluminescent trees stretched toward a ceiling that seemed impossibly high, her branches heavy with fruits that glowed like captured stars. Pools of silver water reflected aurora lights that danced across walls covered in flowering vines. The air hummed with life, with growth. With ancient magic that science couldn't explain, Zara stepped forward on trembling legs, her scanner forgotten in her hand. Butterflies with wings like stained glass fluttered between the branches. Flowers sang soft melodies as she passed. Every plant, every creature, every drop of water seemed to pulse with the same rhythm, same heartbeat. At the garden's center stood a crystal formation unlike anything in her botanical databases. It rose 30 feet high, its faceted surface catching and splitting light into rainbow cascades. But as Zara approached, she realized the crystal wasn't empty. Something moved within its depths. Something vast and beautiful and trapped, the sleeping beauty through the crystal's transparent walls. She could see scales that shifted from deep emerald to ocean blue, wings folded against a serpentine body longer than her research shuttle. A noble head rested on crossed forelegs, eyes closed in what might have been sleep or sorrow. The dragon, for that's what it had to be, breathed slowly and steadily, each exhale creating small clouds of frost against the crystal's inner surface. Zara circled the prison. Noting the way plants grew toward it, their leaves and flowers turned like faces seeking sunlight. This magnificent creature wasn't just trapped here. It was nurturing this impossible garden, feeding it with dreams and life force, even while imprisoned. Ancient runes covered the crystal's base, written in scripts that predated human space travel. But somehow, miraculously, Zara could read them. The words seemed to write themselves across her mind like burning letters. Here sleeps Draconis, guardian of growing things, keeper of the green flame. Bound by love, betrayed until love returns, the touch of recognition, able to resist. Zara placed both hands against the crystal wall. The moment her palms made contact, warmth flooded through her. The dragon's eyes snapped open, revealing depths of amber and gold that held the wisdom of millennia. Those ancient eyes found hers. And suddenly, Zara wasn't seeing through her own eyes anymore. She saw the garden as it once was, filled with beings of light who tended growing things across 100 worlds. She saw the dragon in its prime, magnificent beyond description, working alongside gardeners to bring life to barren planets. She saw the betrayal, the trap, the centuries of loneliness that followed. But most importantly, she saw recognition. In those amber depths, she saw something that made her heart sing, and her soul remembered dreams she'd forgotten. The dragon saw her too, really saw her, and in that moment of connection, the first crack appeared in the crystal wall. The promise whispered, "I'll find a way," Zara whispered, her breath fogging against the crystal. "I'll find a way to set you free." The dragon's massive head tilted slightly. "Dawn." and one enormous eye closed in what might have been a wink. Around them, the impossible garden pulsed brighter, flowers blooming in fast motion, trees stretching toward hidden stars. The heartbeat that connected everything grew stronger, and Zara realized she was now part of it. Part of this living symphony of growth and hope. As she reluctantly pulled her hands away from the crystal, she noticed something that made her smile. Where her palms had touched, the surface had grown warm and begun to glow with soft green light. The process of freeing Draconis had already begun. Love had indeed returned to this forgotten garden, and with it, the first seeds of liberation. The dragon's eyes followed her as she backed away. And in their depths, Zara saw something she'd never expected to find among the stars. Home. 2 days after Zara's discovery, Ember Chen arrived aboard the derelict vessel with her engineering crew. Unlike Zara's gentle approach to mysteries, Ember attacked problems with plasma torches and quantum analyzers. But when she entered the crystal garden, all her technical training meant nothing. The moment she stepped through the threshold, voices flooded her mind. Not human voices, but something far older and more beautiful. The imprisoned dragon wasn't just sleeping, she was singing, pouring her dreams and memories into the garden's living symphony. Ember had been born with a rare gift that made her an exceptional engineer. She could hear the songs that machines sang, understand the whispered conversations between circuits and power cores. But this was different. This was pure consciousness, reaching across species and centuries to find someone who could truly listen. Seraphine's Lamentha. Dragon's name came to Ember like a melody. Seraphine, the silver flame, guardian of lost souls. Through their mental connection, Ember experienced Seraphine's memories as if they were her own. She saw worlds where dragons and humans worked together, building gardens among the stars. She felt the ache of betrayal when fear replaced trust, when humanity chose to imprison rather than understand. You hear me? Seraphine's voice was like wind chimes made of starlight. After so many years of silence, someone finally hears me. Ember pressed both hands against the crystal, tears streaming down her face. Through their bond, she felt Seraphine's loneliness, but also her hope. The dragon had never stopped believing that someday, someone would come who could bridge the gap between their kinds, the harmonic key working through the night. Ember used her engineering skills and newfound telepathic connection to understand the crystal prison's design. It wasn't just a cage, but a complex harmonic lock that responded to emotional resonance. The betrayal that had trapped Seraphine had created a frequency of fear and distrust. Only its opposite could break the bonds. We need to create a harmony, Ember explained to Zara and the assembled crew. Not just between us and the dragon, but between all the life forms in this garden. The crystal responds to love, trust, and unity. As dawn approached, Ember placed her hands on the crystal's surface one final time. But this time, she wasn't alone. Zara joined her, then the other crew members, each adding their voice to the growing chorus of acceptance and wonder. The garden itself seemed to join them, every plant and creature adding its own note to the symphony of liberation. The breaking light the crystal began to sing, a pure note that made the entire ship ring like a bell. Cracks appeared in its surface, not violent breaks, but gentle partings, like flower petals opening to greet the sun. Light poured from within, silver and warm and alive with possibility. Seraphine stretched one magnificent wing. Then another, her scales catching and reflecting the garden's bioluminescent glow. When she finally stepped free from her crystal prison, she moved with the fluid grace of water and wind combined. Her eyes met Ember's, and in that moment, both beings understood that they had found something precious, a friendship that transcended species, built on mutual respect and shared dreams. Nova Reeves had seen many wonders in her years as an interstellar pilot, but nothing had prepared her for the sight of a living dragon stretching her wings in an impossible garden. When the distress beacon from the derelict vessel reached the stellar botanical survey ship, Nova had expected a routine rescue mission. Instead, she found herself face to face with legends made real. The ship was dying. Seraphine's liberation had awakened other systems that had slept for centuries, but it had also destabilized the vessel's remaining power cores. They had perhaps 6 hours before the ancient ship would break apart, taking the magnificent garden and its guardian with it. "We have to get her to safety," Zara insisted, but Nova could see the impossible mathematics of the situation. Seraphine was easily 40 feet from nose to tail, with a wingspan that dwarfed their largest shuttle. How do you evacuate a dragon? Thornscale's awakening the answer came from an unexpected source. As Nova studied the ship's schematics, looking for solutions, she felt a gentle nudge against her mind. Not Seraphine's silver voice, but something deeper, more patient. Following the feeling, she made her way to the ship's cargo bay and discovered another crystal formation, smaller but no less beautiful than Seraphine's prison. Inside, another dragon waited. This one was built like a mountain, with scales that shifted between brown and bronze, and eyes like warm honey. His name came to her as naturally as breathing: Thornscale, the gentle giant, keeper of safe harbors. "He's been waiting," Seraphine explained when Nova returned to the garden. "Waiting for someone brave enough to believe that love comes in many forms, including the courage to protect what matters most. The Great Escape working together. The humans and dragons devised a plan that would have seemed impossible just days before. Thornscale's specialty had been creating safe spaces, protected harbors where life could flourish. With Seraphine's help, he began to weave a protective cocoon around the garden's most precious specimens, including the seed vault that contained the genetic heritage of 100 worlds. Nova found herself working alongside Thornscale, their minds linked in the same way that Ember shared consciousness with Seraphine. Through their connection, she experienced his patient strength, his deep love for growing things, and his absolute determination to see everyone safely home. "I've never flown with a dragon before," Nova admitted as they prepared for departure. Thornscale's mental laughter was like warm honey, "and I've never trusted my safety to a human pilot. We'll learn together." The new beginning, the evacuation, was a symphony of coordination. Seraphine carried the most fragile specimens in specially designed containers, her flight grace turning the rescue into an aerial ballet. Thornscale bore the heavier loads, his massive strength making light work of equipment that would have challenged their largest cargo lifters. Nova piloted the lead vessel, maintaining perfect formation with her dragon partners as they left the dying ship behind. Through her viewport, she watched the ancient vessel finally succumb to its wounds, breaking apart in a cascade of light and metal. But its legacy lived on in the garden they had saved and the friendships they had forged. Home among the stars 6 months later, Nova stood in the center of New Eden, the orbital habitat that had been built to house the rescued garden. Seraphine and Thornscale had worked alongside human engineers to create something that surpassed even their original home. Here, dragons and humans shared the work of cultivation, each bringing their unique gifts to the art of growing life. Zara had found her calling as the first human dragonborn botanist, working with Seraphine to develop new hybrid plants that thrived in both earth and dragon-tended environments. Ember had pioneered the technology that allowed telepathic communication between species, opening doors to understanding that no one had imagined possible. And Nova had discovered that her greatest adventure wasn't flying between the stars, but building a home among them. As she watched Thornscale gently tend a nursery of seedlings while human children played between his massive claws, she knew they had created something truly magical, a place where love transcended the boundaries of species, where trust could grow as surely as any flower, and where the universe itself seemed a little less lonely. The dragon's songs filled the habitat's air, harmonizing with human laughter and the whispered secrets of growing things. In this garden, among the stars, every being had found their perfect place, and love had indeed returned to bloom eternal.